I've read this quote that says the grave is a very rich place. Why? Because a lot of people died with their gifts.
Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Here We Talk. Welcome to a new episode. And today I have a beautiful young lady with me, Madame Fungai. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Shannon. Thank you.
How are you?
I am good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. If it's not a cold day, I think I function more better when it's a bit warmer.
That makes the two of us. I do not like the cold.
Me
Never
too.
did.
Me too. I don't like layering things. I don't like to feel like I don't have freedom to even just
be. Exactly.
So, all right. I will just introduce you to the viewers. And wow, this young lady is so powerful. Okay, so Madame Fungai Kudu, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Okay. Fungai Kudu is an entrepreneur and a passionate advocate for young women empowerment with a strong desire to make lasting impact. She's dedicating to give hope, impact, inspiring and leading through her women empowerment initiative, which is the Gratitude Line. Wow. You know, when we see young women like you having to take up the job of giving to the world for free and empowering people. I mean, that's amazing.
It's work, but then we have to do what we have to.
We have to do what we have to do. All right. Maybe just tell me a little bit about that, and the Gratitude Line.
Okay, so the Gratitude Line is an initiative, more so a movement that I started in 2020. Okay. It came about as a result of me being very passionate about women empowerment and me being very passionate about growth. I love personal development. So I was like, what can I do? I talk a lot. My mother calls me an orator. I know it myself. So I was like, I talk, right? I know people. I can talk to people and bring people together. Yeah. Probably it's not me who's doing the talking. It's not me who's teaching the people, but I can talk to people and bring people together and then look for people that can inspire and teach these people a lot of skills that will help them to passionately pursue their different purposes and passions. So I started scared. Okay. But then I started and it's been going well.
Oh, the way you're even explaining it, it just shows the passionate about this whole movement.
Yes, I
am. It's not an easy thing to take up that role of wanting to be in front of people, to lead, especially when it comes to being passionate, because most of us, we then get to find our purpose very later in life.
Exactly.
And I think sometimes it's because we also lack that, empowerment, the information on how do you know your purpose. And you are doing it at a young age whilst you're also finding your own passion and purpose.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Because
all right.
The thing that's happening these days is that a lot of people, we are just going about life.
Yeah.
I've read this quote that says the grave is a very rich place. Why? Because a lot of people died with their gifts, with their passions. They never discovered those things. So they are now dead. And the grave site is like a very rich place. So I was like, people, we need to discover and know what our purposes are. We need to find out what our passions are and then chase after those things.
Wow.
That is what brings us fulfillment. Yes, we can find fulfillment in other things, but once you discover your purpose and your passions and you chase those things, it hits different.
Wow. That statement, the grave is rich, and imagine that richness is dead. I mean, there's no life in the graveyard. So it means we have lost so much.
Exactly.
And there was one time I also read a quote on Instagram where they said, the gift you carry is not for you.
That's true.
And sitting on it is actually, it's not a good thing because you're supposed to serve others through the gift that you have. So if we know our passion, if we know our purpose and we sit on it, we are not doing good for the rest of the world.
That is true.
Wow. So I just want to thank you for taking up that and telling us and empowering us also to pursue our passion and purpose in life. All right. So Madame Fungai, today we're not going to talk about young women and empowerment.
Yes.
We are going to talk about an interesting topic or subject
Yes.
in as far as young people are concerned.
Yes.
Women and, well, women, I can say, because you are here, dating
Yes.
in your 20s.
Jolo.
Jolo. Yes, yes. And, there's a lot that is going on in terms of
Yes.
relationships for young people, and especially in this times that we're living in, where there is just so much happening.
Yes.
I remember someone who was saying that it seems like the whole world is broken.
Yes.
And it usually manifests in relationships where you find that there's so much happening. And in my line of work, I've also witnessed a lot of young people having difficulties in their relationships.
Yes.
All right. So before we get in there, just one or two icebreakers.
Okay.
All right. One word that describes your morning.
Slow.
How slow?
Extremely slow.
Okay.
Slow and stable.
All
That's
right.
how I like my mornings. You know by now.
do.
Your girl
I
is
do.
not a morning person. So in my mornings, I love them slow and steady. And usually I want to start them with God.
Okay.
If someone calls me whilst I'm asleep, believe me, it disrupts my pattern. Because usually I'm like, I do not want to get on the phone. I need to talk to God first.
Okay.
And now I wake up and the first thing that I'm doing is answering a call. It messes with the flow. So I like my mornings slow and stable. Please don't call us in the mornings.
I respect that. And I think when I also need to do that, I usually just drop a message. Apologize for, reaching out early in the morning or late at night, and then just tell the person to answer whenever it's suitable for them. And I'm also a slow morning person. I don't function when I'm in a rush. I mean, I'm literally a mess and I'm a clumsy girl. And if I'm now rushing, it means I'm even going to be late if things are up and down. All right. Okay. So since we're going to talk about relationships, what would you tell your 18-year-old son, yourself, when it comes to relationship from what you are now going through or have gone through?
Okay. That's a good one. I would tell my 18-year-old self to keep the momentum. Really?
Okay.
Because for me, it's funny how it happened. I was in grade 7. I really wanted to pass.
Okay.
It was that bad. I wanted to pass. I was like, God, if I do not date until I'm 18, can you help me to pass?
Wow. Okay.
At my house, I took ink. Ever sharp ink.
Okay.
And I was like, God, this is my promise that I'm not going to date until I'm 18.
Okay.
And then I put the mark. Right now, when you go to my house, that mark is still there on the door. And every time I would look at it, I'd be like, this is my promise to God. So when I turned 18, like throughout, I was just calm.
Okay.
I wasn't doing anything. I was just keeping myself.
There was no rush.
Like, there's no rush in Africa. Go relax.
Okay.
Being a hopeless romantic and loving love, I'll be like, I do not want to rush. I want to take my time. Let me focus on school. I'm a people's people. Let me focus on school and just be myself. So for me, dating, it was not a thing that I got too early. I got to it like really late. I was a late bloomer. I was a late bloomer. So I would tell my 18-year-old self to keep the momentum really. Because when I turned 18, I was still very chilled. Only started dating after 18, probably 6, 8, 9 months after I'd already turned 18.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So the idea of not rushing and dating when you're 18, was it your idea or it was what the household was saying? It was, was it your idea?
It was my idea. The household was not in on it.
Okay.
The household was joling.
Oh, all right.
The household was joling and I have always been my own person. I make my own choices. And I think it also helped me to be a person of principles and values.
Okay.
That is when it started really. That is how it started. So I was like, everyone else can do whatever they are doing. But I'm my own person. I am me. And I am not going to rush. Let everyone else be doing that. I did not even have anything to offer anyway.
Oh, you know, wow, that is so rich, because during those times, it is the time where peer pressure usually runs the life.
Yes.
And you want to do what everyone else is doing.
Yes.
You probably are not able to make a choice by yourself. You need to ask a big sister. You need to ask a friend. You need to know, like, what do I do? And if someone says go, you then just go.
Yes.
And you being that young and being able to say, I make my own decisions, and I'm able to look into this and say, no, people can do whatever they do. And that grounded you, I assume?
Did.
Okay.
I thank God for wanting to pass that back, because if I was like very intelligent,
okay,
to the point that I didn't need to ask God to help me, I don't know. Like I do not even want to think about it. Okay. I do not want to think about it, but it helped me to be grounded. It helped me to keep myself. It helped me to be a good child, really, because round about that time, that's when a lot of things start happening. You have the friends, you have the environment. Yes. You're at school, you're like far away from home. They are the teachers and the headmasters, but no, when your parents aren't there, you can do whatever.
You can do whatever. I can do whatever.
And yes, they can tell your parents, but by after 3 months, when you have to go back home, probably they are forgotten. Yeah. If they still remember. The impact is not as much as when you do something bad right now and they have to reprimand you. So it helped me to really, really, really stay grounded. Okay. I think it helped me to avoid a lot of nasty people, nasty situations, and even nasty feelings. Yeah. Of course, I would be crashing on guys. I'm like, oh my God, I like him. But I would not do anything about it. Okay. Because I was like, no, we're not doing that.
You're not doing that.
Until after we 10 years.
Wow. I'm also just reflecting, as you're saying, back into my 18-year-old self. Oh, okay.
What did you do?
No. I'm just thinking that, I continue to tell myself, the younger self to say, okay, you allowed yourself to make mistakes in as far as dating is concerned. I probably would have done better in terms of making the choices of dating now or not, and probably also not just keep that open. I had just had to make one decision and stick to that. But anyway, that's a story for another day. Okay, so you being that person who was able to ground yourself, make your decisions. Did you ever get the boy talk? Well, I don't know, since we are years apart. In our times, you would definitely get one. Where you are told, boys will get you pregnant, don't do this. And in our times, I remember we grew up being scared of guys, right? And you had that perspective of, if you just touch this guy, you're going to be pregnant. You're going to, guys will mess up your life and all that. And I also witnessed even my friends who then later dated in life, but found it so difficult to be themselves, to be comfortable, even to be, put your ground where there's safety, because they were just scared of the opposite sex. So did you ever get the boy talk?
Yes, I did. My mom and my grandmother, they gave it to me. And I also think when we would go for holidays, because in our family, we're a lot of girls. So whenever we would go for family gatherings, people want to know, it's just among you, right? Yes. So what are you doing? But then my grandmother would always like, oh yeah. Of course, that is what they would always say. But then when I went to boarding school, because I think parents feel like when they send off a child to boarding school, it's a totally different arena altogether. You are coming from primary, you're going to boarding, it's different. So I got the pep talk. For me, it was, a bit about boys, but more so it was about gossip, really. Because if I thought I heard you talking about me, I would come at you. I would come for you. So my mom knew that I had incidents at primary whereby they would get called by my teachers, come to school. Fungai, agarisa die. That is what they would say. So when I was going to boarding school, my mom was like, uzvibate usaite chivakomana uchiri mwana mudiki ndikunzwe kuti wagarise vanhu dare. That was the thing that hit the most.
Okay.
Not the boys thing, because I had that sorted.
Oh, okay.
On my own.
On your own.
I was cool. It's the usagarise vanhu dare part that had to be hammered in.
Okay.
And even when I went to school, I was like, my wangu vakati usagarise vanhu dare. So I tried to. Boys, with boys, I thank God for that. I was just calm. I was just like this clueless person.
I'm sure you're proud of yourself.
I am. I truly am. And when I look back over it, I'm like, God, you did a thing there.
Yeah.
And even when we're now praying for our future families, I'm like, I pray that my kids would also do this. I'm not going to force it on them, but I pray that when they're growing up, they're making wise choices.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And I'm hearing you, putting God in everything, putting God in this, and I can just tell that you are that girl who's like, put it into prayer first.
Yes.
Let God know, God answers and all that.
Yes.
Now, putting that aspect, how has been your experience with dating and also having the aspect of God in your relationship?
You did that.
I did that. Yeah.
For me, I think it's because even when we were still in high school, I rode with the church crew.
Okay.
Yes, I'll be all over and stuff, but then I rode with the church crew, and my high school grounded me.
Okay.
Like, I think most of the people who learned at that school and they were doing church things, it helped us to keep steady whilst we were at school and even after high school. So what would happen is that we were taught about submission. Not submission to God, yes, but also submission to a counselor, like a wise counselor, like a spiritual father, a spiritual mother, like someone you look up to, a pastor. Like when you are making choices, it's also very wise to consult them and be like, so there's a boy. That is what I do. Even right now.
Okay.
I will go to my pastor and I'll be like, there's a boy. And you'll be like, tell me about this boy. And then I will tell him. So that is what I would do even when I started dating. I'll be like, there's a boy. And I would pray about it. And also, of course, we had the list.
Who doesn't have a list?
Tall,
ticking
dark,
it all.
handsome, whatnot. Like, I had the list, but then I would also like, this is the list. And then I consult my pastor, and then I also pray. But I think way back, I didn't really know how to hear God by myself.
Okay.
But then as I matured, as I grew in the Lord, I'd be like, okay, this is probably God speaking. And also because maybe I'm not yet hearing his audible voice, but then peace speaks. So whenever I would pray about something and consult my pastor, he'd be like, this is not for you. And sure, I would not go for it because I'd be like, my pastor is hearing from God. 1, 2, he's an older person. He wouldn't advise me to do something that is not good for me. So if he's saying it's not good for me, then it's not good for me. So I wouldn't do that. Then came a time. I was told that this person is okay.
Okay.
And then I was like, something is off with this guy.
Your intuition
But then you
said
know
no.
what? Because you told yourself, Pity, I hear God by myself. I hear God through my wise counsel. And then my own intuition. I'd be like, but God would never lead me astray.
Okay.
Sis, let's do it.
Okay. Okay.
You still want to hear more? We'll get to it.
Okay.
That's
the whole story.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So, you go with God.
Yeah.
Wise counsel.
Yes.
Confirmation from God that he
Yes.
speaks to you and give you an answer.
Yes.
Now, putting that into the relationship.
Yes.
How do you then distinguish that this guy has the same beliefs with you? And would you compromise that for a relationship? taking it from your age,
Yes.
you are dating. I mean, your pool of choices is a lot.
Yes.
With experience, age, and all that.
Yes.
How would you then do that?
What I did one time, usually I would always want to be equally yoked.
Okay.
Because listening to sermons, Prophet Matando would be like, why would you want to be unequally yoked? It's like a donkey and a cow.
Okay.
That is the example that he gave. I forgot the name of the sermon, but that is the example that he gave. A donkey and a cow. Have different power. One will be faster than the other.
Okay.
So you're unequally yoked, it will just never work. So every single time someone would approach me, and then I would be like, okay, probably I like this person. I'll be like, okay, but are they a believer?
Okay.
Because there are certain things that are going to be off the table. If we share the same beliefs, then we're not going to have those kind of problems. But then if I'm a Christian and my significant other is not a person of faith, then we're going to have problems. A lot of problems. Like, yes, relationships have problems. But if you're unequally yoked, that means there are more problems than the normal problems that a normal couple would face.
Okay.
So most times I would be equally yoked. I would just be like, yo, 10 away. So let me tell you a story. Backstory.
Okay.
My first boyfriend, he was not a believer.
Okay.
And when he approached me, I'm like, I want to take a. So this cannot work.
Okay.
And he kept pushing and he kept pushing. And I was like, oh no, Mate. That was the first thing on the list. He has to be a believer. He has to have faith in God. He has to fear God also, because there is a difference between a person who believes in God, a person who fears God. Someone can just believe that God is there, but then they don't fear God.
Yeah.
So I was like, Mari, this one, no. But then do you know what this guy did? This guy started going to church.
Okay.
I don't know what the motivation was. Probably was to get the goal.
Okay.
But he started going to church and we were attending scripture union together. And I'm like,
okay,
boy, I see you. I see you. And then I gave it some time. And then I actually saw that this guy has really changed. It was not like for appearances or to get the goal, but probably, yes, when he started, it was to get the goal. But then it changed.
Okay.
He was now like a devoted Christian. In the way I was devoted to God, this guy hung out on the food, and I'm like, this guy is serious.
Okay.
This guy is now what I want. He has now become what I want. 4 or 5 months ago, he was not it. But now, you are
the
it.
one. Okay.
You are it. So I dated this guy. I dated him, and it was a good short relationship, but it was good. And good thing, this guy never left the Christian path.
Okay.
Even up till now.
Good thing.
He's even a pastor.
Wow.
Is that good?
Okay. And what happened?
What happened with the guy?
Yeah.
We broke up.
Okay.
We broke up. And also when we broke up, right? It was because of a minor issue. I think his faith was shaking. He was.
Okay.
I think in those days, his foundation was still on sandy ground.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
So we had to break up because of something very minor, but we actually broke up.
Okay.
But then even after we broke up, he just continued working on his relationship with God, and it got legit. Like, it was good. It was, you could admire his relationship with God, and that was in 2014. 2014.
Okay.
And now a whole minister.
All right. Well, we're happy for him.
We are.
Yes. Then you also spoke about what I wanted to ask you about the issue of changing people, where one takes that responsibility to say, okay, he's not a believer, but I'm going to make him a believer.
Yes.
Did you ever get into that?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what lesson did you learn from that?
I learned a lot. Like,
Okay.
if there is ever an experience that changed my life, was this I will help him change experience. I dated a guy. He believed in God, but then he wasn't top tier.
Okay.
Like the level of belief in God that I wanted. But then I was like, okay, I'll just give him a chance. I saw that there were a lot of things that were wrong with this guy. But then I was like, no. Let me go with it. Let me flow with it. I'll probably be able to help him. I don't know what makes me feel like I can help everyone just because I'm out here helping women, and then I think I can be out here helping men and building men. I'm not Bob, you know. So I dated this guy, and it changed my life.
In what way?
I was after breaking up with him, I discovered things about myself that I had never known before.
Okay.
Yes, he had issues, but then I discovered that I had my own issues that I never knew I had.
Okay.
If I had never dated this guy, I would probably still be sitting here right now, but then we wouldn't be having this conversation. Because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have known what I knew, like what I know now. That guy had a lot of trauma, Shannon.
Okay.
He had a lot of trauma, and I was like, I was always like, something is wrong with this guy.
Okay.
But what is it? I couldn't figure it out. But then when you know that something is wrong with this person, but you cannot figure it out. So I started researching. I was like, no, this is my person, right?
Okay.
I'm with him because I love him. I'm not going to be like the other girls that have been in his life who just came to hurt him and left. I'm not that person. I'm my own person. I started researching. I just came across posts and I'm like, childhood trauma. Oh, and then he had mentioned something in passing, and then I began researching and reading on it, and in the process of wanting to fix and help the guy, I discovered that I had my own issues that made me attract a guy like him.
Oh yeah.
And I had my own issues that I needed to fix. In as much as I needed to help this guy fix himself, fix his life, deal with his trauma, I discovered that I have my own trauma, which I never knew I had. And I became an advocate. I was telling my sister, I was telling my friends, guys, did you know? Did you know, guys, like, it changed my life. It's changed my life.
Wow.
Because I thought I was working on fixing the guy.
You know, I respect what you are saying now.
Yes.
And also probably then, because it's so difficult to introspect and admit that I'm also a person who was carrying all these bad things, and we were also in this on needing the fixing.
Yes.
And being blinded by fixing the person, we then do not look back inside home. And you now advocating for this, I believe someone who do things that she has done before or walked the road, where you now understand, you know the goals, you even know what it means for a person to continue in a relationship when their own self have not resolved their childhood traumas. Okay, so I really wanted to get more deep into the childhood trauma and the relationship, but I guess we might have to get another day for an episode for that.
Definitely, because it's a lot.
Right. Maybe just in short, what is a healthy relationship for you? What does it look like?
Just because I was in an unhealthy relationship before, a healthy relationship for me now, it looks like support. It has certain elements. It has support. It has someone who is emotionally available, because you can be with someone, they are physically available, and then they are not emotionally available to love you the way you need to be loved. So a healthy relationship now for me looks like someone who is supportive, because I am a woman of many passions. I'm an ambitious woman. So if you're gonna be there in my life and you cannot support me, then please move. What are you doing? Like, I need to be offering you something, and you need to be offering me something. So a guy who is supportive, a guy who is emotionally and physically available, and also someone who can handle a powerful woman. Shannon, there are men who cannot handle a powerful woman.
You know, I think there should be conversations around that.
Yes.
Because in our society, we were brought up to know that men are the ones who take that lead and that powerful and ambitious.
Yes.
But now you find that all of us are getting that opportunity.
Yes.
And it's also something that is difficult for a man to be like, oh, so who do I become when this woman is now on the top?
Yes.
That is a conversation that we need to talk about.
We will.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, any words that you'd want to say to our viewers, the young age, in terms of the faith, in terms of dating, in terms of, you know, that self-introspection, linking it to the childhood, what would you want to say to the viewers?
Okay. Which one am I looking at?
That all right.
Yeah. So I would just like to urge you guys, the young, the middle-aged, even the old, like, self-introspect. It's very important that you self-introspect. You look at yourself and you ask yourself, who am I? What are my characteristics? What are my behaviors? Where did they come from? Where are they stemming from? Because most times we are trying to fix other people when we ourselves are the problem. And it's also good to keep God at the center of it all. Because believe me, a life lived in faith changes everything. Like the moment that you start working with God and you're consulting God on a lot of things, even if something is a negative situation, like when you're looking at it, it's a negative situation. But then you know in your heart of hearts that this situation is not meant to break me, but it's meant to make me. Like the thing which happened with me. Like I dated a guy who was not good for me. It was a situation which was meant to break me. But then it has made me.
Oh, wow.
So please keep God at the center of it all. Make really, really wise choices when choosing your partners, your significant others. Be equally yoked, guys. You do not want to be unequally yoked to a guy or to a girl who does not share the same faith, who does not share the same values, the same principles that you have. It's important that you just stay grounded and you also stay true to yourself. There's this quote that I live by. It's called Semper Fi.
Okay.
But it says, as the night follows the day, then thou cannot be false to any man.
Okay.
It's sequence. If it's night, it's going to become day. So be as true to yourself as you can be. If you are true to yourself, you do not have a reason to be false to any other person.
Wow.
So stay true to yourself.
Wise words there, Madame Fungai. Thank you for those words. And, you know, I just want to thank you for bringing up this element of your story into this. And I really want to encourage that each and everyone does the self-introspection exercise.
Yes.
Because when you are true to yourself, like you said, you know your beliefs and you know what grounds you, then you would be in a peaceful place where you're not taking the burden of making people be what you want. And that already has a toll on your mental health that you take so much and you focused on the next person and not focusing on you.
Yourself.
Right. Gandhi said that if you want to change the world, start with yourself.
Yes.
And if you do that, you will see that you attract what you have worked in, what is the truth in you, and you will enjoy your relationships.
Yes.
All right, so my beautiful souls, that is it for today with Madame Fungai. We hope that you enjoyed this episode and hope to see you again next week. All right.
Bye.